Hello, today is March 8th, and we're day 8 of our 40-day journey toward Easter. Those Holy Spirit moments that we have. Everyone seems to have some type of, for lack of a better word, supernatural experience that they can't quite explain. One might say it's your reticular activator, and it's something that triggered your brain. But I've had enough of those experiences that there's too many people and too many variables involved that prove that something else is out there, something else is going on, and I know my honor and glory that I give tribute to is to the Holy Spirit and to God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Yahweh, Adonai, El Shaddai, the God of Jacob, the God of Abraham, and the God of creation, all creation. So as we have these really neat experiences and really have to be paying attention, because sometimes I could think of some really fun, just quick examples, but I won't go down a rabbit trail. It's easy to miss them. It's easy to miss them. It's only when we're like tuned in to think, oh, that's what's going on. And I will say, I've shared a lot of my early childhood years. In short, I was sharing some special formative years experiences, and then when I turned 10, my mom went skiing in Breckenridge, Colorado, and she met my dad. They got married in 1977, right at Christmas time, and so during Christmas break, I moved from Missouri to Michigan and started a whole new life, and there's some funny stories that go along with that too. One of which I'll tell you is when I was in Missouri as a child, third grade, I think, there's a bunch of us that got into a snowball fight on the playground, and Opal Yates was our principal. Opal Yates. And we all had to pretty much, in my mind, we were like single file all the way to the principal's office. And there was a lot of kids, 10, dozen. And I remember one by one, our warning was like the strap that she had, a leather strap, baby. And we got a strap on the hand. And that was our warning that we're not throwing snowballs. So I remember telling my mom about it and being frightened, having to tell her I had to go to the principal's office. That was a lot of fun. But I was in the back seat, she was in the front seat driving, and I could see her face in the rear view mirror, and she was kind of smiling, and she was like, well, so you're going to be honor, basically next time you're going to honor the rules. But so that was Missouri. And then I came to Michigan, and they had a snowball target on the playground. So totally mixed messages. And I also grew up on sweet iced tea. We were in the South, and I had glasses of iced tea every single day for as long as I could remember. And I remember when my mom remarried my new grandma, she was English, and she did take tea time every day. And so one day when I was 11, I asked her if I could join her, and she was like, absolutely not. You would have thought I asked for a shot of whiskey. So just things we adapt to when we're kids. But just had a great experience moving to Michigan, making new friends, beginning a new life. And there's going to be a lapse of time where I can't recall. I'm sure there were, but I don't remember any more of those like miracle moments. Remember, we are sharing these miracle moments together that are given to us by God. And so that's why we're saying it's hashtag Messiah Miracle Moments, hashtag Messiah Miracle Moments, a little bit of a tongue twister, in the hopes that you all take a moment and share some of your own stories. And that's what's fun. I'm getting tired of seeing my face, so I really want to hear your stories. And I know that it's just going to take one or two people to get started, and then my hope and prayer is that my stories will quietly end, and I brought the loaves and fishes, like they like to say in The Chosen, which we're going to talk about The Chosen later. But if you haven't heard of it, just Google it. But I know the director likes to make reference to, bringing the loaves and the fishes, and so these are my loaves and fishes, and I'm just praying, as God has anointed this, that you will all be brave, and we watch them multiply. So today, my story is, it could be a long story. I'm going to keep it short. You're probably thinking, thank goodness. But more just that it's an intimate story. And so the summer between my high school junior and senior year, I had hung out with some friends from school, and I met a young man named Arthur. And Art was living with a friend of ours, and he, I didn't really ever know the details of why, when he was at his junior year in high school, he was moving out of his house, but I can tell you he was always a gentleman. Never questioned his behavior, his intent, very good-spirited. And I'm sure, he was a 17-year-old boy, so, lots going on there, but we became very good friends, and there became a little bit of romance there. And I just wasn't quite ready for all that kind of stuff. I was a bit of a late bloomer, and he wanted to stay together. Golly, what do we call it? Going steady or something back then, or I'm going with somebody. And every parent probably said, "Oh, where are you going?" Well, it's more of a term, I'm going with somebody, as in this is the boyfriend at the time. And he just was a sweet spirit. But there came a point where summer was over, we were headed back to school, and I wanted to be friends, and I cherished his friendship, but that's all I wanted to be at that point. And he ended up moving out of the house, he broke a rule, whatever it was, and he ended up moving with somebody else who didn't have rules, and he was living a little more of a wild life, I think, at that time. He would write me letters. I have several of them, quite a few of them, and which is really special. You guys, you young people who have your smartphones and texting, you miss out on the intimacy and the personal touch of having someone put a pen to paper and to put it in an envelope and give it to you, or mail it to you. He would often just give it to me. But toward the end of my senior year, and he and the guy that he was living with at the time, the friend, it was Memorial Weekend. Again, we were in Saugatuck, Michigan, and the Kalamazoo River runs through Saugatuck, Douglas, and then there's a bay area, and it's really pretty. And as Memorial Weekend, you'd think in some places it's really warm, but that water comes off Lake Michigan, it's still very cold. And those two boys decided they were going to swim the channel, and one made it back and Art didn't. And I was with him. I was with people when I would say it was 2 days later, they pulled his body out, and I was there, and I did witness all of that. And it was a very emotional time. So one of the special things to me was there was a song by Michael W. Smith at the time called Friends, and that was played at his funeral. It will always be a special song. I'll segue later on into more current time, but that song became special again just a year ago, not even a year ago. And And there's a neat story that will tie in with all of that, and a movie that was just released called Jesus Revolution. And if you haven't heard Michael W. Smith's rendition of And They'll Know We Are Christians by Our Love, by Our Love. We are one in the Spirit, I think might be the title. So there's way more story to tell there, but the miracle moment that I had was there was a letter that that Art had written to me. 17, I don't know, he wrote no pets, so it's kind of funny. But he wrote to me, and this one I didn't get. There was like I probably had 20 of them. And this one was one, it literally says on the outside, "Old one, sorry I forgot to give you." And so I got it after he passed away. And he says basically, there's a lot of like 17-year-old boy affection, and very sweet. And he says, "I love it when you smile. You're a good person. Don't ever change, no matter whatever happens to our friendship. But here's how it ends." And I'll try to attach a snapshot of what this looks like and a picture of him. But it says, he's basically feeling very emotional and feeling infatuated, feeling like you're falling in love, and he's expressing that. And he says, "I guess I better slow down and listen to my mind instead of my heart. I don't want to drown. Please help me, Andy. Your friend for life, Arthur." And I can't begin to tell you, as I read that letter and how it ended, how it took my breath away. And I won't remember him the way he was brought onto shore. I'll always remember his gentle spirit. And I will attach a picture of him and that piece of the letter that he left. But the miracle, the Messiah miracle moment for day 8 was precious words from somebody who had passed on ahead of me, reminding me that God is bigger and that we are loved in spite of many decisions that we make that are just messy and imperfect, that God really knows our heart and knows when we keep going after him. And he was definitely somebody who kept going after him. I hope you do too. See you tomorrow.